Hey everyone, Dr. Kennard here with Dr. Tomfoolery, happily single.
Yeah.
I thought we'd just start a few seconds early because I felt like talking. But now that the camera's on, have you ever found that you say to yourself, I really want to say something, and then you actually get the chance to say something, and now you're like, I don't know if I really had anything important to say to begin with. Though that never really stopped me from talking before. Having something important to say. So Dr. Tomfoolery, happily single. Have you ever been happily? I don't know. I don't know. Have I been happily single? Only for only for short periods of time. I've been unhappily married. I can say that, right? Wow, bringing a downer to things right here.
Uh,
Good morning, Kendra. Glad to see that you're here,
hey,
at
Kendra.
least in the chat. Tobin Templeman. What's up, Tobin?
Good
Hey,
morning, yeah.
Good morning. Hope you're doing well this morning, sir.
Yes, I am. Once again,
Once again, yeah.
I
John
get to
Hudson.
wake up and hang out.
Yeah, dude. What's up, John Hudson?
Just had a lot of fun for the last 12 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
I ended up going to a bar in Albert, Texas last night. Albert, Texas is a bar and a hall. It was a good time. I talked politics. I even lit up a joint right in the bar.
Good for you. Good for you.
Oh, God, it was fun. I'm known as Jimmy Buffett from Salt Lake City.
So you talked politics, John, and
Yes,
you
I did.
didn't, and you
Yeah,
didn't
the
end up.
one guy was going off about it and shit. I'm like, left wing, right wing, it's all the fucking same bird. Yeah. And commanded respect. Yeah. I wasn't going to go out with this gal because she was telling me she prays and stuff. And she goes, I'm not religious, but I pray. And I'm like, well, what are you praying to? And I'm like, okay, you're just putting it out to the universe, right? She goes, yeah, I guess you could say it that way. I'm like, I'll go out with you. She was cool. We had fun.
Um, Imaginary
Um,
God mentions that your audio is way too. I mean, it doesn't sound high to me, but I mean, if John said, I mean, if
that's just my voice.
yeah.
I know it's a good time. And then this morning I got kicked off of Facebook again.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. You told me when we were exchanging messages this morning.
It was, yeah, I won't mention Alex Baldwin here.
No. Well, it was a horrible accident that would happen. What's up, 420? Thought I'd say hello. You
Yeah,
just
I know.
Hello, Sammy.
I guess it was just too soon.
yeah. It's funny with the fact that even if it's a prop gun, you still have to be careful.
Damn
Yeah.
straight.
You know,
I mean,
Bruce Lee's kid died. What was his name? Brandon Lee died
Brandon
because of
Lee.
a stunt gun.
Yeah,
Um,
shooting
held,
the movie Crow.
yeah. What did he do? He held it to his head or something and then shot? Or
No, it was a big scene where he was shot at by dozens of men and they were all shooting him.
Mhm.
And somehow one of the many guns that were shooting at him had a real bullet in it.
wow. How odd is that?
Very. You can imagine all the conspiracies around it.
Oh yeah. Well, that Bruce Lee story, Dragon, was that was out like years ago, decades ago at this point. It had this wooish kind of family curse angle to it.
Well, wasn't Brandon Lee the same age when
Oh,
he
I don't know.
died? I think
I,
so. So it just fed more into that whole
right, the narrative.
family curse thing.
Right. When people start, it's interesting because whenever people start talking about the side effects of different medication, it's like, well, you understand that even some people will die from aspirin. Like if you've never taken aspirin before, there are some people, it's a very small percentage of people, um, that will die from getting aspirin, from taking aspirin. You're having an allergic reaction, you go into anaphylactic shock, and you die. That's what happened to Bruce Lee. So, there's always a risk. And you have to treat the risk intelligently. But our shitty brains, our meat brains, aren't very good at dealing with statistics. So, I would rather take the risk with aspirin.
I at times when people do statistics, I start thinking, how is this person trying to trick me? Because I'm not that great at math. And whenever I start hearing statistics, that's like one of my reactionary impulses is to be like, how is this person trying to deceive me?
Yeah. There are, and I've taken statistics classes in college, and they were not my bright shining courses. Let me tell you that. That being said, I think the lay person can learn enough rudimentary statistics to know when someone's bullshitting you.
Yeah.
And that's really what counts, right? You know enough to like say, this doesn't sound right. This is, this isn't correct. Like, for an example, I was reading through the book Freakonomics, and they were talking about regression towards the mean. And I mentioned this before a bunch of times. I think I made a comic about it years ago, is that they use the example of the Sports Illustrated curse, right? Is that whenever guys or whenever athletes got on Sports Illustrated, their careers started to tank. Well, that is only because they just happened to catch the athlete at the height of their career, right? In their best self. But very few of us can perform at that high level at that amount, even if you're a high performer already. So you will go back towards your average, right? So that's what regression towards the mean is. That's a basic way to explain it. Like the Red Sox did exceptionally well in the playoff games. They racked up a bunch of these home runs. But then the last two games, they kind of sucked. And that's just regression towards the mean. That's just going back to their average, basically. I don't know if that made sense, but that the Sports Illustrated metaphor really stuck with me in terms of how to explain that.
How on.
Definitely made sense.
I think how I understood that is like, if you have a moment where you are playing and you get like the highest high score, and even though a lot of the time you are just hitting an average.
Yeah, right. So yeah, think about it like this. Like, once again, back to baseball, right? If you have a 300 batting average, but if you're like hot, right? If you've been doing exceptionally well, and you're within the last game or two, your batting average could be like, say, 350 or 400. More than likely, it's going to go back down to 300. So that's like regression towards the mean.
Right on.
So that's something I just know. Like I said, I like podcasts and books that explain complicated things in stupid way, in simple ways. That's what I like. I like consuming that kind of content. Mostly so I can just make shitty jokes out of it, to tell you the truth. Anyone have plans for the weekend? Big plans? Any plans?
I've got to work.
No, you got to work. Yeah.
I'm gonna go see the guy who played last night, Big Bubba, down in Dripping tonight. He's leaving Albert last night and going to be in Dripping tonight. He was really fun. He was playing all kinds of just like 80s songs and doing a couple Led Zeppelin. It was fun. I'm gonna take the pregnant daughter and son-in-law and grandson and see if we can't bounce that baby out of her on the dance floor.
Excellent, man. How about you, Tobin? You got anything cooking over the weekend?
I'm still very focused into my music. I've been making progress, and I'm ready to bite off another big old chunk of it.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Hey, you want me to get you a hill country tour out here, Tobin?
Man, I am working towards that. That is like one of my main goals is being able to get back out and go play around Austin for sure. And all the cities around Texas. It's actually one of the reasons why I picked the spot I'm at is it basically puts me in like a 3-hour drive to most major cities. So I can like hit everywhere. And then eventually I really want to at least tour around the states one time. Let me get one tour. That would be cool.
Well, if you start with Houston, Austin, San Antonio, it could be the Pyramid Tour.
Yeah.
Or the Triangle Tour. See, I'm already promoting you.
That's good. That's good. I did not see Dr. Josh talk about Dungeons and Dragons and presuppositionalism yesterday. I will admit that. I was watching Squid Game. And working.
Speak of Dungeons and Dragons, there was when I was a young man, there was a kid that killed a girl in the neighborhood that I lived in, and his defense was that the Dungeons and Dragons made him do it.
It's like the Twinkie defense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I got hopped up too much on sugar, so I killed that dude. Yeah, that's not real.
The kid who did it, Joe Malin, he was weird as hell. Always, kind of a bully, but just a dweeb too at the same time.
Yeah.
Just always just threw out that creepo vibe, though.
I have to tell you, my goal is not to, as a man of a certain age, my goal is not to emit that creep vibe. That's my goal. One of my goals.
It's wild that talking about like
failing
creepy
at that
people.
already.
Oh, what's that, Sam?
I'm failing at that already.
Oh, you're failing at that already.
I am in certain parties, I guess. Depending on where I'm at, people will say, "Oh, that guy's cool." In other places, "Oh, fuck, he's creep."
I'll tell you this true story. All right, I'll tell you this true. I don't know if I've told you before. One of my girlfriends, one of my old girlfriends, that she was younger than I was, and she looked younger than she was too. So we were out dancing, which I'd been drinking, of course, because I don't dance unless I've been drinking. We've been drinking for hours. And the bar actually that we were at turned into like a club, basically, a dance floor. The DJ came in. And so we were dancing on the dance floor. And then I walked into the bathroom. And so these young girls come over to my girlfriend while I was in the bathroom and said, "Hey, do you want us to rescue you from that old creepy guy?"
Oh, no.
Oh,
Damn.
Good times. And she goes, "What, my boyfriend?"
did she go, "No, but you can join us"?
See, that's the thing. Yeah, see, they should have been that angle there, Sam. Good point.
That just fucking makes it all weird.
Some people run on like so many assumptions. Like it makes me wonder how they get through life like that. I'm like, man.
Yeah, the girlfriend now and I, my girlfriend, who I'm very happy with. We actually just hit our 3-year anniversary a little while ago, but we were at a comedy club about 2 years ago, and I looked like a human being. I looked kind of like I do now, and so the comedian there was riffing on me for having a lot of money, right? Because I look like the stereotypical dude who had a lot of money, and I'm like, my girlfriend's like, yeah, we are in vastly different social economic classes. And she thought it was the fucking funniest thing in the world, as did I. But you're right, Tobin. People just go off on looks. And Yeah, that's not like, who would have known that, John Hudson? I took a look at your house, John Hudson, online. That's incredible. That's like an estate.
It is an estate.
What's that?
It is an estate. Yes.
It's geodesic domes and rainwater and this deck with the trees. It's really impressive, dude, I have to say.
And we are committed to the bar.
Oh, the wet bar is nuts. Yeah.
We're just a couple hours away, Tobin. You need a vacation. Come on up.
Right on.
Or when you're in Houston, Andy, it's a 2.5 hour scoot.
Okay, so we were thinking about going out to doing something on Thanksgiving, but I guess we're just staying in the area. We might be out for Christmas. I don't know. It all depends on. We'll probably have booster shots by then, and we might be flying out there for Christmas. I'm not sure, but if we do, then I'd love to pop over and check out the estate.
Well, we'd love to have you.
No, thanks.
Make Tobin scoot up here too when it all goes down.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be a lot of fun, actually.
Have a little party.
Yeah.
Laughing in disbelief convention.
I can't hear you, Dr. Tom.
Laughing in disbelief convention.
Hey, you can bike your ass down here too, Tom. Would love to have you.
That's a bit out of my range.
Well, at least it'd
Out
be
of your range.
Yeah.
Hey,
Sitting here,
Sammy, you're not invited.
jelly as all hell.
Sammy's not invited. We don't need any more Texans.
Oh,
No, Sammy would take
John,
you too.
I am hurt.
We would take you too. I'm sorry.
Call me a Texan.
That's what I've been told. Is Australia is Euro Texas.
It's not
That
true.
That is hilarious. On so many different levels, actually.
Well, look how many things you got on that continent that can kill you. That really doesn't even have teeth or anything. No big pointy claws, but all kinds of shit can kill you there. Sounds like Texas.
All right. Well, I guess if you look going from that angle, I'm okay with that. As long as you're not comparing us to the people.
Damn.
Wow, harsh. That was a fastball.
Present company excluded, of course.
You saved yourself there, 420.
You're the exception to the rule, John.
Well, you have to admit,
Why
Greg,
are you in Texas?
you have to admit, Greg Abbott and the Republicans have given Texas a bad name.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's up with people who have the last name Cruz? Are they all crazy? You know, you got Tom Cruise. He's got the oh goddamn, what is it?
Scientology.
Scientology bloat going,
Yeah.
and then Ted Cruz. Fuck, he needs to go back to Canada.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and we're not going to get rid of either one of those two anytime soon. I think they're like diabetes. Well, that just is around, and maybe you can manage the symptoms.
Oh, it depends on what stage you have of diabetes. It can be totally reversed.
Yeah, and actually, I was talking about. Excuse me. I was writing this shitty blog article for for a post this morning about a therapy that would cure religion, and it was partially based on that new therapy out, or new experiment that results came out about diabetes type 1. There's a medical breakthrough about dealing with and maybe possibly quote unquote curing diabetes type 1. Hopeful stuff.
Well, all I've got to say about Tom Cruise is there's no takebacks. He's yours now.
Oh, he's ours. Yeah.
Yes. He is officially no longer Australian. He's all yours.
That was dark, Sammy.
Scapegoat says, I have more regard for Canada than that. Maybe we can drop Cruz off in the Pacific. He wouldn't be so too bad. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Scapegoat.
Cancun.
Who was that? Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz, yeah, yeah. So, John, you mentioned that you went out on a date with someone who prayed.
Yeah.
I don't know about anyone else, but if I ever had to date again, which I don't think I ever will at this point, but if I, and after my divorce, I don't think I ever actually dated anyone who was religious, and maybe I don't think I could date. I saw this woman who was a secular Jew for a while, and she went through the motions and everything, but I don't think she was like a believer. But I don't know about anyone else. If you've had,
I couldn't do it. Nope. There's no way. I would end up having too many like conflicts. Like they think differently on so many different things. So many different subjects go into it. It's not just this like God belief, but whenever it's like one of those like people who are like those very staunch believers, I couldn't live with that. Man or woman. No way.
I couldn't take them seriously. They'd be like, you believe that shit? What else are you likely to believe?
Maria seems to be saying a big old no there. Yeah.
But like you're saying though, like you're making the delineation that, there's like the secular Jews, and there's Christians out there who are not very staunch. They just, it's like a belief that's on the back burner somewhere that they kind of forgot about.
Right.
And if it gets brought up, they end up making an ass out of themselves. Like there's like a spectrum.
Oh yeah.
I went on a dinner date once, and when they started praying before the meal, I was like, this is not going to work out. It was just awkward after that.
Shit, if it's just the two of you, that's awkward as hell. It's all right, like a big table full of people. Wow.
Now, she cursed before dinner. Them cheeseburgers, 2 cheeseburgers were $38.
Oh, wow.
But I was able to buy double shot of Buffalo Trace, Budweiser, and a Dos Equis for under $10.
Nice.
But the burgers were $40.
The burgers.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Hasn't Tom Cruise divorced all of his wives when they turned 33? I have no idea. I have no idea, D Parks. My depth of Cruise knowledge is low, I would say.
I
Yes.
think it's actually a case of his wives divorced him as
Oh,
well.
maybe they woke up after a certain age.
Yeah, because he actually fought the divorces. Like, didn't want to get divorced.
Wow.
Why
Yeah.
you would want to stay married to someone who's desperately fighting to divorce you is just instantly that's a control thing.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Sam. That it's clearly needing to be, and if he's like that about divorce, if he's that into controlling things, you got to wonder what he's like in the relationship in terms of his controlling nature.
Which is what all his wives have come out and essentially said.
Good seeing you, B.
Keep it healthy for all of us.
I feel like there should be a GoFundMe site to help Tom Cruise's exes to help them escape. Yep, I dated that one girl before I got married who was in a cult. But I was a different person then. I just wanted to be, inflicting myself with misery, and successful at it. But yeah, now I would say that I probably would have a hard time dating someone or being with someone who is like super religious or kind of religious.
Oh, I wouldn't. She doesn't go to church or anything, but she told me she's religious and she'll pray when she needs something. You
Right.
know,
Yeah,
and
that's good. That's manageable. That's all manageable.
yeah, and well, yeah. I
Especially
don't
if
put I don't put things out there when I'm needing something. I mean, I just fucking handle that situation.
You
Right.
just
You
do
know,
it. Yeah.
even when my parents were my dad had a slow death, and I don't remember once praying for him. Maybe I should have. He'd still be here.
John.
I'm a fucking asshole. No, but they're the ones who instilled the my religion or anti-religion thing about me. Grew up in a Mormon community, Utah, and was when I had interest in the church, they're like, "Great, just like everything in life, you will be educated on the decision you make. If you want to be a Mormon, you can go experience some catechism. You can go. Jan next door is a Methodist. She'll take you to church with her, and you can go to all of them. And if you have one that you want to connect with, and then that's up to you. But at least you'll go into it knowing what many different religions are about.
Sure.
And yeah, I used to like to go to the Catholic parties and the Lutherans. My God, they could fucking throw a party. A lot of alcohol. Bat mitzvahs are probably some of the funniest parties I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Free alcohol, fuck, I'm going. I don't really
alcohol.
care.
Wow, you had me at free and alcohol. That's what you had me at.
I don't know. I think if I didn't allow some of them people in my life, I'd be really missing out on things.
Yeah. I didn't know that about Nicole Kidman. Greta Maria writes out that Nicole Kidman does work at the UN now and talks about domestic abuse. I did not know that.
Oh.
I did not know that.
I mean, we've all had religious people in our life that have been good to us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And I remember I had when I was still religious, when I was in high school, Pastor Jim at the church I went to, who eventually got fired for being
human.
Yeah. For being too human and not Baptist enough, John.
That's the problem with a lot of the religion too, is they get somebody in there that teaches tolerance, that teaches equality, that teaches love, and their career is short-lived. It's just like a politician that speaks the truth and fights for right.
Yeah. The congregation that I belonged to, that my parents belonged to, were definitely a lot of mean white people. Northern mean white people, taciturn types, and they wanted him to crank up, like on the July 4th, the patriotic, God message and stuff like that. And he was just not that guy. He was just not that kind of guy. He had spent some time in Japan, could speak Japanese, could read Japanese. That's how I got turned on to the filmmaker Kurosawa. It's through him. Had a lot of good conversations. But yeah, just got fired. Maybe being for a little bit too human, a little bit too smart. Maybe.
Well, that is scary.
Yeah.
That is scary to them people.
Yeah, it is.
I like to hang around smart people. I mean, obviously, that's why I'm here today. Pick up a little bit from each and every one of you.
Well, I heard, and I think I've mentioned this before, Quentin Tarantino was doing an interview, and he goes, I want to be to paraphrase him, I want to be the weakest link. I want to be the dumbest guy in the room, basically. So to learn from everyone around me. And I thought that's really good advice. You know, you want to be in a team of people
That's a little bit
that.
selfish too, though.
What's that?
That's a little bit selfish too, though, because if you're
Oh
never
yeah.
the smartest person in the room, you're never helping out other people who could learn from you.
Well, that's a good point. You know,
So,
and maybe
so
that
you,
just
you want to have a healthy mix between the two.
Very altruistic of you.
I like it, Tom.
yeah.
Right on.
I do like that.
So not only are you saying that I'm selfish, which might be true, that I'm also very successful at being stupid, which I kind of like, to tell you the truth. I'm not gonna.
I get the sentiment though of what Quentin Tarantino and you, Andy, are talking about. I mean, I do like to engage with people, and also, you know, when I can, involve myself with people who are, you know, wiser than I am.
Hmm.
But
But no one
yeah,
wants to feel like a dummy all the time.
no, and
It's important to learn, but it's also important to pass on what you have learned.
right.
Good point. Good point.
I think it's a situational thing, and he's probably referring specifically to his art.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Because you know,
movies.
with Tarantino, he didn't have any formal. I mean, his film training was basically working at a video rental store and watching tons of movies.
Well, did you see where he doesn't give anything to, I believe it was his mother, because she told him he would never amount to anything, to give up the pipe dream, quit chasing his love, you know?
You know, it is one of the, you know, it's see, now I'm going down the drop down menu in my mind right now. I'm trying to pick out the best words.
I have that. I put that on people.
There are many artists, entertainers, performers who are really good at their craft, but that doesn't mean they're great people. That doesn't mean that they're fantastic human beings. You know, when Ted Kennedy was alive, he was a great senator, but you know, the joke is that Ted Kennedy, great senator, but bad date. So I think that's true for a lot of artists, performers, and you know, just because you're really good at one particular thing doesn't mean that you're a great human being, and that's that goes against our basic monkey brains, right? That if you're good at that one, if you're good at an instrument or telling jokes or being an actor or being a director, that doesn't mean that you're a great person.
I've got more of a silverback brain.
I really enjoy his films. His storytelling is amazing, but I don't really know anything about his personal life or
Yeah.
like how he is. I don't even think I've really seen too many interviews with him in it.
Yeah, he did a really nice interview with Mark Maron. Obviously, I'm a fan of Maron. I've talked about him a bunch of times.
Mark Maron, yeah, is cool.
Yeah. Tarantino sat down with Maron months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, maybe, and you know, talked about his upbringing. You know, he never knew his dad. His dad was kind of a scumbag, and you know, the guy seemed to have had a rough time, and sometimes that just hangs with you. You know, sometimes it just hangs with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, he seems kind of awkward, but you know, in like a cool way. And the all of his movies are filmed just, you know, so odd. You know, back to forward, and
Yeah.
where he'll drop in peeps. Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
The first time I saw Pulp Fiction, I couldn't stand it. I'm like, this is the fucking dumbest show I've ever seen. And after the third time watching it, knowing the backwards to the forward, I'm like, this is genius.
Yeah.
It's my favorite movie.
Wow, that's your favorite movie.
Right at the top. Me and my old pal we learned the entire dialogue off by heart. So we'd watch the movie and we'd be reciting every line.
Oh, check out the big brain on Sammy.
Yeah.
was-
That's why that movie is the greatest. The one-liners in it and the cast, like Bruce Willis, Travolta,
Samuel L. Jackson.
It's just Mia Thurman, Uma Thurman. Sorry.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Vincent Vega.
Yeah, we were the girlfriend made us some black bean burgers the other night, and I was taking a nosh on it. It's like, this is one fine burger. One fine burger. So yeah, you're right. These
That is a tasty burger.
These Pulp Fiction quotes, they just drop randomly,
Yeah.
Well, have you ever been to the Big Kahuna? They make a hell of a burger.
Well, now
and it's not $38 for two of them.
How do you have it, John? Burnt to a crisp or bloody as hell?
Oh, knock the horns off it, wipe its ass, and serve it up.
Yeah.
Stick it on a plate.
When I was eating meat, I would have my medium rare. I need it to at least look like it's been cooked, right? I would.
Yeah, I don't eat meat every day, but when I do, I eat meat. You've seen some of the pictures of the heart attack specials.
Yeah.
We went to a barbecue the one day, and I put out a picture. Nick had over 5 pounds of smoked meat.
Yeah.
And he ate it all.
Nice.
That's one of my fondest memories of my dad. Is he loved smoking meat, and he'd make a smoker just about out of anything, old 44-gallon drums, whatever. And
I mean, that steel bucket.
Fish or just any, and I hated fish, but you smoke it, amazing. Anything smoked is amazing.
True. And you're right. You can make a smoker out of. I think I saw Alton Brown, on Food Network, make a smoker out of what is it? Pottery. Just like planters, basically.
You can take your regular barbecue grill, and one of the things I like smoking with is peppercorns.
Oh, yeah?
And I'll put that down on the fire, and then I'll put the meats up higher on the tray for quick smoke. And peppercorn smoked is awesome. I'll drop in a little oak or hickory with it, and you get a peppery flavor throughout whatever you're smoking, and it's phenomenal.
Nice.
Sounds amazing.
Now you're making me want to eat meat now, John Hudson.
That's a personal choice. You come out here, we can. It's against my better judgment, but we can get you some veggie stuff.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Oh, bless you, John.
We'll prove you can make friends with salad.
Sure. I can still drink. I mean, maybe too much at times, but I can still drink.
Call. No, I wouldn't judge anybody by what they consumed either. You know.
Yeah.
It's kind of dangerous to eat meat around here, like at some of these restaurants.
You got food poisoning the other day, though.
I think I did.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would be able to test that, but I didn't like what I was eating, and I had stopped eating it, and I was like, And then but it's happened to me more than once, and like I keep on knocking off another restaurant around here that I'm like, I can't go back there now.
Yeah.
Hamburger. Food safety regulations in Texas?
There is, and we have people who go around and they do the inspections and stuff like that, it does happen around here. We have to keep up with regulations, but there are places that that just have people who should not be running the business, and it's really disappointing because there is a need for that around here, and there's people out here that just don't care enough, and it's really disappointing because they could probably there are restaurants that are like doing really well around here.
So let me ask you, Tobin, was it a burger that you were eating, or did that
Yeah,
you think?
I did. I ate a burger.
That's the thing about burgers, and is that like a steak, you're more likely to get sick off a burger than like a piece of steak, for an example, because of the nature of the ground meat. Is if they don't clean the instrument that ground the meat, then
Yeah,
that would be bad.
yeah.
And because it's different cuts that they can put into the grounding of the ground meat, then it could be like 95% good, but you get that little bit and it could just ruin everything. Yeah.
Hey, I just got invited out to go up to Marble Falls for some breakfast at the Blue Bonnet Cafe.
All right.
And so I'm going to head out. I'll give you reports on the meat.
Okay.
If I wasn't banned on Facebook, I'd send pictures. But
dude, how long are you banned for?
It said 30 days at first, and then I went in, and I'm like, it was a fucking question. I'm like, you're going to ban me for asking a question? The question, what was it? Would Alec Baldwin shoot me if I was a bad, oh my God, a bad badger? Because I had the gal that was on 30 Rock with him that was also on Saturday Night Live. What's her name?
Tina Fey.
Yeah. Okay. She was in a meme with him, and she said, "But what if I'm a bad badger?" And so I put that up there, and I'm like, "Would Alec Baldwin shoot me if I was a bad badger?" Question mark. So they gave me 30 days at first, and then after the appeal, it's a 7-day ban, is what they're saying now.
Wow.
So
I can't believe that's bannable.
It was
Am I missing something?
So
is it because it was about shooting someone?
Might be about shooting someone.
Yeah, but I shoot.
What did Alec Baldwin do?
I'm shooting pictures all the time.
Oh. Alec Baldwin, he shot someone with a prop gun, and it actually killed them, from what I understand. There was a death on the set of the movie that he's making, that he's, basically he's an executive producer for. It's his baby. And it's been in the news for the last day or two. I actually read something about it. So somehow, I think it was a cameraman, actually.
Cinematographer or something like that.
Cinematographer who died from getting shot with a prop gun shot by Baldwin. Yeah.
Hey, I'm out, guys. Have a lovely weekend.
Hey, John.
May all your babies be born naked.
Yeah. Wise words, John Hudson. Wise words. Here's a topic from Cryptomeria. This is interesting. But we can talk about this in the future too, Cryptomeria, about dreams and premonitions. Sometime there are some things I can't explain. I would like to hear the panel's opinions. I've always had a vivid dream life. I've always had a lot of dreams. Vivid dreams at times. I will say that I make jokes about the elves that work in my head, that work on jokes. And sometimes the elves are really busy putting out material, and that's when I'm on, making jokes, basically on Twitter or on Facebook or whatever. But yeah, what our consciousness, of course, is only part of our operating system here, and so there's a lot of unconscious analysis going on, and sometimes that just comes out, right? It comes into consciousness.
Do you know that if the fact that you dream a lot, Andy, and that you remember, and that they're vivid, means that your sleep is shithouse.
It is shithouse, dude. It is shithouse. I got shit sleep.
Like worse than mine. I only sleep small amounts, but the amounts that I sleep, I'm lucky. Everyone dreams multiple times a night, but it's whether you remember the dreams. And I don't remember my dreams at all. The last one I remember was several years ago.
Oh, wow.
And it was literally like I walked into the kitchen and got something out of the fridge, and the dream was over. It was mundane, boring, not even worth having. I was like, man, it's been like 2 years since I've had a dream, and that was it. But it's all to do with the point you wake up.
Yeah.
If you wake at what point in your REM cycle, if you wake up at the right point, you will recall the dream.
Yeah.
Yes.
Once I'm out, I'm unconscious. Like
I will say, what's that, Tom?
I've noticed that whenever I sleep on my back, I don't remember my dreams at all. If I sleep on my side, then I'll remember dreams.
Now that's fascinating, because if you have something like apnea, typically you get shittier sleep on your back than on your side. I specifically sleep on my side.
Yeah, I get much better sleep on my back.
Interesting. Yeah, I will, when I wake up in the morning, it's typically, I remember it's in a dream. I had a dream immediately before I wake up. Thankfully, now that I'm not doing these sleep overnights anymore, my sleep has gotten much more stable. So, I don't have night terrors that much anymore. And when I say night terrors, I mean night terrors. They were like full blown, like horrible things. So the doing working days has significantly improved my sleep. As shitty sleep as I have now, as anyone who sees me on Facebook at 3:00 in the morning, right? This is far better than what I was like. Even just like 3 years ago, I would get maybe 2 or 3 hours of sleep and then be semi-functional for the rest of the day. I'll take care of Big Zebra. So yeah, my sleep now is far better. But I've had, getting back to what Maria was saying, I've had Buddhist-like dreams. I've had dreams about divine. What's the term? Divine
revelation.
Divine hiddenness, about God being in a bunker. So I've had kind of like these, and it's obviously, these dreams are just me trying to process out information, right? That's what your brain does. I think a lot of neuroscientists are saying that your brain is using that sleep time to consolidate memories, to turn short-term memories into longer-term memories. And so sleep is an active process. It's a cognitively active process. And sometimes
it's like calculating all the events that happen in our life and what could be in our life. I think it's just dreams. There's no. She brought up a certain word though.
Premonitions.
Yeah.
Pre-premonitions. And I think I've had a dream that could be seen as a premonition.
Yeah.
But the way I think of it myself is that my brain was going through processes and then made a calculation, and it just so happened to work out in the natural world. It goes back into that hit and misses thing, like the sharpshooter, whether you'd call it a premonition, or was it just an accurate calculation that the brain processed.
Yep. I think it's partly that, and then there's also, I believe it's partly they're doing a lot of research into memory and finding that like with our consciousness and our subconsciousness, similar with memories, we will often we think we have a memory of something, but we're actually creating the memory in that moment.
Yes. And memory is not retrieval, it is recreation. That's what memory is.
So we're actually creating the memory for the first time, but it feels like we're remembering it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
the consciousness is one of these. It's a really interesting topic, to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But it's at its very best, what we consider to be consciousness. It's a very Swiss cheesy kind of thing. It's not unitary. For performers, for example, right, or for people who are creative, I just get ideas. I get ideas about jokes. I can kind of prime my brain to be creative, and there are ways of becoming creative by immersing yourself. And I've written about this before on Medium about how to become more creative. But it's me, but am I consciously going through an algorithm? I don't know. I don't think I am. I think a lot of the time it just appears. Yeah, and I've had thoughts about people just from what Cryptomaria says. I will dream about someone and know things about them I shouldn't. Maybe you just pick up things and you don't consciously process them, and then when you're sleeping, your brain just kind of makes connections. Because that's what I think that's what a lot of creativity is your brain, your unconscious brain, making connections, and then saying, "Hey, look what I have."
And that's exactly, and that's what I think a lot of the sensitive people say, but I just know things. And if you ever look into body language, the amount that we exude daily, the list is just phenomenally long, and we are communicating to each other like right now on multiple levels of body language that is almost happening subconsciously. We're talking subconsciously to each other with our bodies, and how much of that comes into your consciousness, your awareness. That's when people start to think, I know stuff, I'm picking up on stuff. But I think you're being aware of what your subconscious is doing and seeing.
I'll say this, Cryptomaria, too. I also did this little comic about Littlewood's Law. And Littlewood's Law is that if you're paying attention to your environment, statistically speaking, you will notice something in a 30-day period that has a 1 in a million chance of happening. It's called the Littlewood's Law. You can Google it. There's a Wikipedia article about it. So right, I know that you've read, you know about that, Tobin. But in the course of a month, super rare events happen, and more than likely you're going to notice a super rare event. So yeah. That helps me when I think of spooky action, maybe. That I can see.
Is Cryptomaria saying that they are in security? Because if they are, absolutely that's going to, just the nature of that job's going to enhance your ability to read body language and pick up on stuff.
Well, doing the work that we've done, Sammy, in terms of working with people, people, you have to know. You have to be able to read people in terms of whether or not they're getting agitated or aggressive, because, of course, the best way to make sure something bad doesn't happen is being able to identify someone getting into the red zone. Yeah, you got to get someone. You have to be able to see the potential danger before it gets into, before even you get into the red zone. You have to know when you're in the yellow zone, basically. But I have a couple of books on consciousness back here too, which are interesting. Always interesting reads.
I love it.
A friend who has been getting really deep into religion lately cites as reasons why he believes that there is afterlife in religion and all that stuff was he had met a person recently who at one point had a dream that there was this door that had this specific symbol on it, and he just knew on the other side of that door was the afterlife or something like that. And when he woke up, he started researching that symbol he saw on the door, and eventually he found somewhere that symbol was associated with the afterlife, and somehow this is convincing him that this random person that he met had this dream that proves afterlife now.
That just shows you how much our brains suck.
Man, Richard Madsen, that whole thing all come from a dream.
It's funny. I was just listening to Richard last night.
Convince him. That's interesting. Cryptomeria's what you're leaning towards. You cannot convince Richard that he didn't. He is convinced that what he dreamt he was not aware of, and could not have gained it or heard it playing on a TV in the background, or because we threw all these possibilities at him.
Yeah.
And of course, none of them happened. But he's convinced that this dream was a communication, because he then went and looked up the things that he learned in his dream and discovered that they were real. So
real.
See, I have had dreams that aligned with reality, but it just, to me, it's my brain going through all the ideas that could happen. Like what the past is. Your memory is working through your past. I like thinking about things in my past, and then that will, if you give yourself enough time thinking about your past, you're going to lead somewhere in your future, and if you take acid or mushrooms, it is, especially if you get a nice high dose, that dream world and like being awake at the same time, like I associate those two. Like the dream world is very much like being on heavy hallucinogens, and like
exactly,
and things can tweak and twerk and change and morph, and you can think about whatever you want to think about. Like, and the thing that I had gotten myself to is that I can, I can change what I'm thinking about. I can, I had gotten to the point to where, things were getting really like moving a lot, and it was overwhelming me. And I'd been able to, like, I had taken it enough to where I could start calming it down. Like if I needed things to just mellow out, I can change those things. And that's there's so many variables to it. And your dreams are calculating so many variables on where you've been and where you're going, that at some points in time, it's going to hit. It's going to hit where it's like, oh, it makes a accurate prediction, of what your future is going to be.
And the way that I look at it is a similar way I look at things like God and the Bible. Is even, okay, let's say I have a dream where I literally just have a premonition and something does happen. I would still think that that would be a bizarre way for some entity to give me a message, when I've also had a dream where I had sex with a witch on a trampoline that was attached to the bottom of a rocket that was going up into space very slowly. I was like 14, 15 at the time.
That's a pretty trippy dream, dude.
The age that you have.
So why would we bother with dreams like that?
Yeah.
And have dreams that are so meaningful and premonitions, and it implies some sort of entity that's
I fully
control.
appreciate a good dream or a really strange dream that you wake up and you're like, what was all that about? Like, you know, and you sit there and you dwell on the dream and try to recall it to the best you can.
Yeah.
It's like you almost you want to go back into it. You're like, but I don't know.
Before closing out the show, I just want to. Crypto Mary says I had a dream someone I didn't like was in trouble, and then they said they were in trouble. I would say my two thoughts, my 2 cents, my two thoughts would be that's probably wish fulfillment on some level. And then you got lucky. I mean, and then you got lucky. You know, once again, it's Littlewood's law, which is that, you know, uncommon events, if given enough time, you will have these super rare events occur. So that's just my 2 cents.
And that's
and
not
my
necessarily that super rare. To
no,
get
and
someone
my
to be in trouble
my
and
two
being in
cents
trouble,
would
but
be, sorry if I'm talking over you, Tom. I can barely, Dr. Tom, I can barely hear you. Can you just flash it back up for me, Andy? Sorry. Can you flash that comment back up again?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Depending on what the trouble was and things like that, there's every chance that you were just perceptive as well, and you knew they were heading for trouble or whatever, and dreamt about it.
Yeah.
There's so many.
We're going to give Dr. Tom Foolery the last word here. Dr. Tom. Word. All right, there it is. We'll see you next time.
And so quiet.
Shamala hamala.
Jabla hamla. Take care, everyone.